Hey there buddy, this is Caitlin here and welcome to another episode of Scribble Reviews, where I normally take either like a film or a video game or an anime or even just like an item that I've bought and I review it for you so that you can basically have a little inkling as to what this thing is, what my general thoughts about it were, whether I would recommend it and whatnot. Just general things like that. Today we're actually going to be reviewing a film, not a kind of cinematic release film, but it's actually going to be an anime film that I picked up, if you remember correctly, from way back, not too long ago actually, from my Insomnia vlog. I picked up this DVD called Psychic School Wars, and I was thinking, oh, it sounded like it had an interesting premise and whatnot, and the art style on the front looked neat, and I thought it was maybe going to be an interesting watch, so I picked it up, and well, I finally watched this film, and I have really mixed feelings on this film because, in all honesty, I felt like watching this film, and I'm going to be talking about spoilers and whatnot, so if you would rather not hear any spoilers about this film or whatever, then, you can go off, you can click away, you can look it up somewhere. I'm pretty sure it must be on some website somewhere, maybe Crunchyroll or something like that. I would watch it first before, because I'm going to talk about spoilers, because mainly, I have to discuss reasons why I am, mixed feelings about it. So I have very mixed feelings about this film, mainly because I feel as if the marketing, or at least on the blurb or whatever, the synopsis in the back, missells what the actual anime is about. So I'm going to give you the little synopsis on the back of the DVD as it reads. So it's called Psychic School Wars. Spring marks the start of another new school year at junior high school in Kamakura, which I believe that's how I said it. A new transfer student, Ryuichi Kyogoku, joins the 8th grade. Kyogoku has a very special proficiency in telepathy and has been ordered by his father to use this ability to scan other people's minds and take over the school. Let's put a pin in that. He instantly gains popularity at school with his good looks and charisma, and he sets about taking control of the school. As people begin to fall under Kyogoku's spell, he covertly manipulates his followers and pushes aside anyone who gets in his way. Let's put another pin in that one. Now I'm going to discuss this. With the school almost completely under the control of Kyogoku, only one boy seems unaffected. Seki. The Seki have what it takes to save everyone from the clutches of mind control. Now, that sounds like an interesting premise. It's got a decent conflict. It's got, you've got your clear, a villain. You've got your clear hero of the story. It seems like this would be an actually interesting thing to watch. Now, this film, and I've watched it in its entirety or whatever, I slogged through it. The film is only about, it's 110 minutes long. 110 minutes. So, if an hour is about 60 minutes, so literally just less than 2 hours long. So the problem is that is not what happens in this story. That synopsis is very urging on a lie. This is not what happens in the film, because, okay, so I'm going to break this down here. The kid Ryuichi, who apparently has the psychic powers and whatnot, he doesn't control people's minds. He doesn't control people's minds at all. He doesn't do anything of that. He doesn't amass a cult following or something like that. He doesn't take over the school. What happens in the film is that he shows up, out of nowhere, by the way, no explanation. He shows up, he talks to one girl, he talks to one girl in particular. And he, as the film quotes it, awakens the potential for psychic ability in a person. So the real reason he's there is, this is going to get really convoluted, and I'm just going to lay out the plot here so you can understand why I'm annoyed at it. He comes to the school or whatever. He talks to this girl who's the head of the student council or whatever, the president or whatever. He awakens her psychic potential. So essentially, she has the psychic potential that she never knew that she had. He just awakens it. He doesn't control her mind. He doesn't read her mind or anything like that. He just awakens her potential. So then she's the one who goes off, using the means at which he'd showed her how to test the rest of the school to see who's got the ability to use psychic powers and who's not. So then, basically, they form their own cult. He has nothing to do with it. He's not controlling their minds or anything. He just helped this one girl get her psychic powers, and he's okay, I'm done. And he wanders off, plays piano and whatnot. In the meantime, she's doing all this work or whatever, figuring out who's got psychic powers, who's not. They all form their kind of network thing where they're hey, we're going to ban all the cell phones in the school. This plot to get rid of cell phones in the school is basically the main plot line of the entire film. This is what the main film is about. Is basically slating mobile phones and how people depend on them too much. They would basically ban all the mobile phones so that the kids who do not have the psychic ability can't like talk to each other. Essentially, they're banned from talking to each other and all this stuff. So basically, only the people with psychic powers who communicate with each other through their telepathy network and all this stuff, so they're in a position of power and authority over these people. Meanwhile, this kid Seki, this freaking kid Seki, who the plot synopsis here sets up as being the only one who can stop it, remains totally oblivious to this entire thing until like the last 10 minutes of the film. The last 10 minutes of the film is the only time he realizes, hey, something weird might be going on. And the only reason he knows is, like, for some reason his dog has sealed away his potential to have psychic abilities. And that's how he knows. Like, so for the point of this film, he, like, the bad guy doesn't take over people's minds. He doesn't mind control them or anything like that. He's not building a cult or anything like that. He's just saying, hey, you've got psychic powers now. And then he just walks off. Like, literally that's it. Like, he doesn't do anything. He literally goes about, he walks about. He spends the majority of the time talking about Shakespeare with Seki, the girl who, I can't even remember her name, the girl who's best friends with Seki and is crushing on him, his next door neighbour. And like this other member of the student council or whatever that apparently is in love with the psychic guy. I don't know, but it is just really bizarre. Like, also one of the really bizarre things is the way that Seki himself, like the main hero of this film, is set up. The first 10 minutes, I swear to God, the first 10 minutes are almost spent just berating him for sometimes forgetting to zip up his fly of his trousers. Like, this is like something that's like, I don't know if it is just to do with the English dub or something like that, because like I'm assuming there's like the option, there's the option to have the audio in Japanese. I didn't watch it with subtitles though. I watched the English one because, you know, I wanted to watch it so I could wouldn't have to read it at the same time. So the first almost 10 minutes when Seki shows up, it's almost dedicated to him crushing on council girl, having been berated by his next door neighbour because he sometimes forgets to zip up his fly, and that apparently makes him a pervert and all that stuff because he forgets, he walks about and people see him with his fly undone. That's like, literally that went on for like nearly 10 minutes, and I'm just sat here kind of going, what is the point of this film? When are we actually going to talk about the stuff with the psychic and the taking over of the minds and whatnot? And then this is Rich. So the guy who is like apparently taking over the school, which he's not doing. He's not doing that in the slightest. He has this weird cat thing. Like this, it's like a weird cat space weasel thing that follows him about and talks to him telepathically, if I can't even say the word, telepathically, telling him, you need to hurry up and do the testing and figure out who's perfect for your plan and whatnot, and the plan must go as according to plan. This thing is just no explanation of why this thing is here, what is it doing here, what is it. It's just talking to him, and all this stuff. And then the real bombshell, which came out of left field from absolutely nowhere with no hints whatsoever, turns out he's from the moon in the future, which is like such a weird plot reveal. He's like, hey, I'm not from this timeline, I'm actually from the future where the human race now lives on the moon, and we're dying out because we've not got enough people who have psychic potential, so I've come back in time to find people at this school with psychic potential to then take them back to my time so they can repopulate the human race on the moon. Which is just like this is nothing to do with what this plot was. His plot was, hey, I'm going to take over the school and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that doesn't happen. Suddenly he's from the moon, from the future, and like we need to... But then the kicker is, so all these people now at school, the majority of them have these psychic powers. They've like formed their own cult thing or whatever. It's like he's not got anything to do. He's like no active part in that. So then he tells like the group of 3 friends, whatever, which should really hate him because he's caused all this turmoil at the school, and yet Seki is determined to be his friend. I don't know why he's like so oblivious to the whole thing. So they're spending like the day on the beach and it's absolutely raining or whatever, and like he just bombshells like, hey, cool, I'm running out of time. I need to go back to my era, and that's it. But then he doesn't bother trying to take any of the people that he's converted essentially into psychics with him. So it's like, what was the point of that mission? If like, this was the whole point of you coming back to this time, to get these people, to take them back to your time, to repopulate your time. But now that you've achieved that, you're not actually going to bother trying to take them back with you. You're just going like, cool, I'm just going back here. I'm not fighting it. Don't worry about it. And it's like so stupid. And like, I couldn't actually understand the last 10 minutes of the film because they don't explain anything that's happening. It's like, it's so weird. It's like, hey, I'm going to go back to my time now. I'm probably going to cease to exist because apparently I don't belong in either time because my mother is from the current era and my father's from the future. So for some reason I don't exist anymore, or some tripe like that. So then the cat thing, which turns out is his father, which is like, comes completely out of left field. It's like, why is your father a cat? Is this what happens or something? When, like, why is this going on? So then for some reason he's like, yo, steal Seki's psychic powers and then you'll have a right to exist now. So then we're in some weird dreamscape or whatever where there's like a psychic battle going on, but it's not really even a fight. It's more like they're drowning for some reason. And like for some reason there's like a kid Seki and like a kid of the neighbor and whatnot, and like they've got like the little cup things and the string and they're trying to talk to each other, and it's just really bizarre. I don't understand what's happening at all, in the slightest. It just makes no sense. And then for some reason, like, it looks as if like the psychic guy or whatever is dying, and Seki's like, cool, I'm gonna fix this, and he just disappears and there's no explanation for that. And for some reason everyone else forgets they exist. Like, I'm not quite sure why. And for some reason Seki shows up again at the very end with a cat thing that looks bizarrely like this guy here, the psychic good that whatever, and then the neighbor suddenly remembers who he is and they hug and cry and all this stuff, and that's just how the film ends. It is a confusing mess of a film. It is such a mess. Like, I tried to explain that in a way that made any sense whatsoever. Watching it made no sense, and I'm sure even if I watched it in the Japanese with the subtitles, it would make no sense. It does not actually follow the synopsis of the back of it. I did a little research, and it turns out I think this is very, very loosely based on a novel of the same name. Whether or not it covers the entire novel, or whether it just plucked certain idea elements and ran with it, I have no idea, because I've not actually read the original novel, so I am not too sure how faithful an adaptation this is. But just based on this, it was absolutely atrocious. The only thing I could even say about the film is that some of the visuals are very pretty. Like, this is a special edition, right? This is a special edition. So when I take it out of the box, it's got really nice box art, and I believe there's also an art book that comes with this. There's like a really small art book, and you'd think from seeing some of the art, like there's like character profiles and whatnot for these characters, and like the scenery and whatnot is beautiful. I mean, the artwork to go with it is amazing. Some of the scenes, like the effects and whatnot, the visuals are really, really nice. But for some reason, it's just wasted on this film, which really doesn't like give any explanation as to what the heck is going on. I think, I'm just putting this back together. I think if they had made this even just a 12-part anime series, like it didn't need to be like a full-length season of like 30, 40 episodes. If they'd made this at least just a 12-episode series, it could have had better pacing, it could have had proper character development, you could have actually taken the time to explain things properly, because literally none of the characters have any real development whatsoever. The only thing we get is from the neighbor kid or whatever, who for the most of the film she's just berating the main guy for being a pervert, just because, like, you know, he's staring at girls and like he, you know, doesn't dress himself properly clearly. But most of the film is spent dedicated to explaining why she has a crush on him and why she's not telling him that she's got a crush on him, and why she's just being one of those guys like, I'm not telling you how I feel because you should already know, but he's an idiot guy, so of course he doesn't know what she's feeling because he's oblivious, and anime tropes and all this stuff. But I feel like if it had been a 12-part anime series, it might have had a bit of a better chance. But as a standalone film as it is, it's just too rushed. There is like no like pacing, character development. The plot is just all over the place. It is an utter mess. It just makes no sense with no explanation for anything that's coming. The main plotline, like as I've explained, doesn't actually happen in this. So it's like misdirecting the viewer and whatnot. You're thinking you're getting one thing and then you're just getting a whole mess of something else. So it is a very frustrating watch. I would not recommend this film at all. Like, if you want something pretty to look at for like 110 minutes, go ahead. But like, other than that, like, you're not really going to get much more out of this. So I definitely wouldn't recommend this film, guys. It was like quite hard. Like I thought, oh, this will be good, and the first 10 minutes were a bit of a slog, and then the next half hour was a bit of a slog, and I was like, why is this film getting any better? Why are we not covering any of the points that showed up on the back of the box? And it's just like, nah, we're not. We're going to be completely off the rails and whatnot. So I would not recommend Psychic School Wars, guys. So unfortunately, I did not enjoy this. I will probably trade in this DVD to CEX or somewhere at some point, because I don't really want it sitting in my collection and whatnot when I really didn't enjoy it. But Anyway, guys, that has been my review of Psychic School Wars. If you are interested in checking it out, I'm pretty sure it might be on Netflix or it might be on Crunchyroll or something like that. You can give it a watch for yourself, whether you agree with my points, whatnot, or let me know, guys, if there's ever been like an anime, like film or just series where you thought it was going to be one thing from the description of it, but it turned out to be something completely different, and maybe it was for the better, or maybe it completely threw you off and you didn't really enjoy it anyway. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I will see all you guys, I believe. It'll be Tuesday for the 4th pre-release vlog and whatnot that'll be coming out. So I will see all you guys later.